Hello guys, welcome to my channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, my name is Marina, I'm from Russia and I'm filming a lot about how I got into the United States, how I'm traveling all over the world and learning all these different languages. So today I'm going to tell you how I got into top 5 American universities. 2 of them provided full financial aid, and I'm going to tell you about that journey and why I decided to study in the US. So if you're interested, please continue watching. So, since the age of 6, I was pretty sure I wanted to get education abroad, but I was always dreaming about the UK, where I'm actually now. But I realized that the immigration system is very difficult and it's nearly impossible to immigrate if you receive your education in the UK. So they don't really like students immigrating to their country. So I was exploring other options, and once I was sitting down, sorry because I'm crossing the road, I was sitting down and I was scrolling through my Facebook feed and I saw some article that said that American universities provide full financial aid to the students. And I was like, really? I thought US education is so expensive. So I started to dig into it, and it was September. And by the end of October, I already knew that I would be applying to American universities. And actually before that, a year ago, I traveled to the United States for the first time and I fell in love with the country. And because I studied economics, I studied back in Russia, I thought America is the best place to study economics. This is how I realized United States would be the best place for me to do my master's degree or MBA. I wasn't really sure if it should be a master's or MBA. So, I just started Googling programs. But the most important thing for me was to get this full financial aid. So there are several types of financial aid that American universities provide. The first is scholarships. So just because you're so cool and had so many achievements during your previous studies, or maybe you were promoted at work, they would give you several scholarships. They give scholarships to those students who have achieved good results in their previous studies or have achieved good results at work, so they were promoted or got some awards. But it's really competitive. So some universities have a couple of scholarships, but as I said, it's really competitive. The first thing you have to do is get in, and the second thing you have to compete for the scholarship. But it's actually the best type of financial aid because you don't have to do anything, you just have to be yourself, you just have to be cool. And so I was dreaming of getting a scholarship, of course, but quite often scholarships just cover a part of your studies, so like part of your tuition fees, and then you still have to get some money for living, for traveling, blah blah blah. The second type of financial aid is assistantship, and I think this is the best type of financial aid for people who want to get their master's degrees, because when you're doing bachelor's, universities think that you cannot actually give back. So what you do is just consume knowledge. But when you're doing your master's, MBA, PhDs, you can actually give back to the university. And this is why assistantships were invented. So the first type of assistantship is a teaching assistantship. This is when you actually help a professor. So for example, you work with a particular professor and he tells, hey, could you please prepare a deck for the next seminar, or could you please, teach students how to solve such problem, and you help the professor. You would normally work 10 hours a week, and normally assistantships cover everything, so your tuition fees, accommodation, and they give you a small stipend so you can support yourself, like get you some food and travel to the university. And there is also another type of assistantship which is called administrative assistantship. This is the assistantship that I've had. So this is when you work for a university and you do some administrative work. For example, if you're an international student, you would work for, international admissions department, helping people get through emails that they get, or, just doing some administrative stuff. And these assistantships are also very good in terms of financial aid, because you just work 10 hours a week and then you get full financial aid. So these are 2 types that are the best. The third type is a fellowship. This is when you do some research work that is sponsored by a university or is sponsored by some company that wants you to do a particular research. So you write your thesis and you include the results into the work that you would be submitting for the fellowship. And fellowships also cover everything. But then fellowships are only available, mostly available to PhDs. So masters is not the best type of program if you want to get a fellowship. So these are 3 types of financial aid. Also, in the United States, as an F1 student, you can work up to 20 hours per week on campus. But campus jobs are not really well paid. So well, you would get like $13 an hour, but that wouldn't compare with an assistantship. You won't be able to cover your tuition and you won't be able to cover your accommodation by just working on campus. This is something you would just do for living, like living expenses. So it took me, I think, 2 weeks to get a list of 30 universities I really liked, and I was looking for universities that do masters in marketing and MBA, and everybody told me it's impossible to get financial aid for MBA, but I still decided to do it. So I've applied to Johns Hopkins, University of Florida, University of Tampa, Wisconsin Madison, University of Illinois, and University of Scranton, or Scranton University. So my top 2 were Johns Hopkins. They have a Masters in Marketing program, and University of Florida that does MBA. I came up with 30 universities, and then I wrote to every single university asking if they provide full financial aid, because sometimes the university would have this information on their website, but then they wouldn't say the particular amount that you're getting. So they would say, hey, yeah, we're gonna provide you with an assistantship, but they would never tell you how much the assistantship covers. So the only thing that is left to do is, you know, just write to them. And this is actually good, because connecting with the university is also very important. Because, for example, in Johns Hopkins, I had the situation when the girl I was sending emails to and asking about financial aid, she was also interviewing me, and during the interview she was like, oh, hey Marina, how's it going? You know, we exchanged so many emails, just tell me what's your progress right now, so what are you busy with? And this was the easiest interview ever. So yeah, after I wrote to all those 30 universities, I was left with only 6 that I've already mentioned, and I started my application process. And as I mentioned, I realized that I would be studying abroad in September, but in America the majority of deadlines are October or January. So yeah, it took me 2 months to get ready for my GMAT, then I took 10 days to pass TOEFL, and if you want to know how I passed TOEFL, I already have 2 videos on my channel, so please subscribe and watch those videos. And I would also film about passing GMAT, because I scored 700 out of 800 and I scored 117 on TOEFL. And then it took me a while to prepare all the motivation letters. And there's also a very important thing to remember, that sometimes you would need a separate application if you're applying for financial aid. So you would have like 2 applications, one application for university and the second for financial aid. So I did everything. Everything that was left is just to wait for interviews. Every single university invited me to have an interview. Johns Hopkins and University of Florida accepted me, and they provided full financial aid. So University of Florida gave me a administrative assistantship plus a scholarship, and Johns Hopkins gave me just a scholarship which covered all tuition fees. And I was already, you know, deciding where I would go. It was April and I was so excited. I thought maybe Florida because of the climate, because I'm from Russia and Russia's always cold and, you know, raining, blah blah blah. So I was exploring this town of Gainesville on YouTube, and then another great, such a busy road, another great thing happened. Our startup, linguatrip.com, got an offer from 500 startups in the Silicon Valley. And yes, I made a decision to proceed with the Silicon Valley. So actually I moved to California, and now I got my work visa for the United States. But this is a separate topic. So guys, if this video was useful, and if you're also applying to American universities and need financial aid, I do some kind of consultations. And if you want this consultation, there would be a link below. And feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to answer. I know how challenging this process is and how difficult it is to apply to American universities and how consuming the process is. So please let me know if you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel, and let me know if you want me to film about anything else, like about some other parts of admissions process. So good luck with everything, and I hope you get into the best university that you're dreaming of. Bye bye!